brightness.
She likes to tell me things that aren't funny and makes me feel
Wait,
uncomfortable.
no, it makes me feel uncomfortable that sometimes she's like, you know, like I don't even tell her things that aren't funny sometimes. Like I don't. Like I always tell her things that are funny to me, to us. Like because we have the same humor.
Anyways,
Hey,
what's
y'all.
going on, you guys? Oh, wow.
What?
It's Kui.
It's me. It's Mich. Mich is me, and I'm Mich. And this is The Raw. Happy All-Star Weekend. Stay inside.
Happy Ghana Independence Day. Pop
Blah,
out.
blah, blah, blah. You already know 64 in this
Flag.
thing, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. I mean, my best friend, she's from the motherland, so you know I gotta rip that. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, sir. 6'4", 6'4".
You already know how it's going. Gang,
Yeah,
gang,
yeah,
gang.
yeah. And that's on Ola My DM.
That's on who?
Yes, sir. All right, so.
Whisper in my ear who it was on. Whisper in my ear who it was on. Whisper in my ear. Mama Day. If it was a llama day.
That's what you could be talking about, man. Like, we gotta entertain the people, not ourselves.
Exactly.
It's our problem.
I'm sorry.
You
Y'all.
start a YouTube channel.
Wow, nice. So what we talking about today, sis?
Yeah, so y'all watch Pretty Little Fires Everywhere.
It's not Pretty Little Fires.
Little
Fires everywhere.
Oh, okay. Little Fires Everywhere, okay? You remember one of the main characters had a child she couldn't take care of, so she left the child at the police station or the fire station, and another parent adopted the child, kept that child. The lady then came back later in her life, stole the child because she was in a better predicament to take care of the child. So now today we're coming to discuss who has the right to the child, the woman that gave birth or the woman that adopted, in the case of adoption. Kuya, what are your thoughts?
So in that situation, right, that situation was just, it happened very weirdly. And I don't think that anyone should have to go to the lengths of kidnapping your own child. It was like a sensitive predicament where they just had to do it. But I feel like if you give up your child, I know that there's like, it's yours and you might not be in the place to take care of them or give them the life that they need, but I feel like you're giving up that entitlement to your child as well. The moment that you give them away, you're giving up that right, that entitlement, and all of that. And so if they're raising the child, like, and you can figure out a way to work it where you can like be in the child's life, fine. But at that moment, you no longer say that you have the right to have that child, even though it's yours. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I feel like that was, I feel like in that situation, like we were saying, like that was crazy of her to kind of steal the child. I understand why she did it, but we also understand why people do a lot of stupid things, because a lot of times there's like logic to back up these decisions. But in the particular case of like adoption, like this is why we have rules, like governing policies in place. Not that all rules are just or that all rules, you know, are fair across the board for all people, but that's why governing policies are in place in like situations like this. So when you sign off your rights to a house, to a car, to a person, like that is what you're doing. Like you are giving up, you know, liability, you're giving up responsibility, you're giving up ownership of that person, thing, and object. Understand, I'm not trying to compare a child to a car, but I mean, ultimately, like when you sign it down in line and say, I'm no longer responsible, or like in her case, she just gave the baby away, and then the baby, you know what was interesting though? The baby hadn't been, like they hadn't fully adopted the baby legally, which is why it was such a huge issue, and they had to go get those lawyers, which is where privilege came in.
Wait, they hadn't adopted? I thought they had.
Well, so what were they doing with the lawyers and all that stuff? Were they appealing her stealing the child?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like they hadn't officially finalized.
Mm.
Because that changes things though, right? Because it's like the mother didn't give the child up for adoption. She did give it away, but she didn't technically give it up for adoption. And then the other family, I don't think legally had the rights, which is why they started to panic and got like the highest ranked.
Oh, that might be it.
Yeah, the highest ranked lawyer in the area. So in that case, it's a little different because honestly, then she could have kidnapped her child back because there's nothing legally bounding her not to. Is it ethically correct? No.
No, not ethically. It's legally incorrect. But I think in terms of ethics, like everything in her predicament.
It wasn't legally incorrect. Yes, she stole a child, but the child was
Stealing is stealing.
But it wasn't nobody's child.
What?
They've been taking care of her, but
not she didn't have custody of the child. So if it wasn't her child under the law, then when you take a child that's not yours, then that's legally.
I think the only thing she did was breaking and entering. I don't think she stole, because that child was also not those people who were taking care of it.
Oh no, I feel like she still broke the law. Like, the police ain't gonna say, oh, you broke and entered, but you didn't kidnap this child. She kidnapped the child. That's why they called the police after.
But they called the police after because someone came into their house and took something they thought was theirs.
But you know, another situation which I feel like is like questionable as to who has the ownership. Did I do that to you when you were over here doing this every day?
What?
Every day. Stop. You're gonna make me mad. No,
yeah,
you're gonna make me mad.
Stop. You know who about to go see.
In the situation, stop that. In the situations where like, say a parent is going through something like drug abuse or whatever, and then they have to go to rehab, and so then like the state takes them, or like they give them to the custody of like a family member, or somebody else adopts them, and then they end up like going through rehab, being clean, whatever, doing their program, and then they're allotted like visitation rights, and like I think the end goal is to be able to get your like kids back again, but sometimes it doesn't end up happening that way because like the adoptive parents or whatever grow an attachment to the kid, and so they don't want the real parents to come and get them. I think in that situation, like, the real parents should be able to have claim to their kid, because it's not that they gave them away, it's that, like we said, we're all human, people go through things, and like obviously I'm not advocating for drugs or anything, but it's like you were in a down period, you went through something to fix yourself, make yourself right, make sure that you were getting yourself together for your kids so that you could give them a life and support them. And so once you've been cleared of everything, I feel like you should be able to have the right to your kids.
Oh, I think so you're saying they get fully adopted?
Who gets fully adopted?
The kid
goes back to their parents.
No, before that, who in the interim? Is this like does this family adopt them in the interim?
I think so. I think like in the show, I haven't watched it in a long time, but you probably haven't seen it, The Fosters.
Yeah.
You've never seen it?
No.
In the show The Fosters, I don't think it was a drug problem though, and I do think drug problems are deep because it's like easy once you like have an opioid addiction to fall back into that. So with that, I feel like that's a difficult one.
I couldn't say the word either, and I tried.
Say it.
Opioid.
Oh, is that how you say it?
No, I don't think so. No, I know it's opium. And it's gonna be open this weekend, baby. Shout out to All Star.
Oh, nice. But
yeah, I know.
Okay, so is there any predicament where you feel like if somebody, a biological mother and adoptive mother, had like claims to the kid, that the biological mother should have the right to the kid?
If the kid hasn't been fully adopted.
But I still feel like even then, depending, because that's a long process, even then, depending, like, the kid still grows an attachment to the adoptive parents. And so if they have, like, I feel like sometimes it does more harm than good, especially depending on, like, the stage or age of the kid, to, like, uproot them from what they've come to know as, like, normalcy and come to know as, like, a good life, and then like just throw all of this confusion back into the ring. So it's like, as much as it's like, okay, what's legally right and what's ethically right, like thinking about the kid, like, and how they're gonna grow up and how they understand things, like what's the best situation for them also.
Yeah, I think honestly at that point they stay in the adopted family because that is the legally right thing, and then when they are of age to make their own decision, then they can decide if they even want to, you know, reinstall that relationship that they had with their biological parents, or if they're not interested in that, if they have like the opportunity to choose. I think at some point they grow to have like, you know, the mental capacity, which they always do, but like the IQ and like mental intelligence and emotional intelligence to make that kind of decision. Like you can't put that decision on an 11-year-old, which is why I hate when like kids decide when, you know, parents are getting divorced, like which parent they go to. With. Yeah, but I think at a certain age, like a kid begins to know and can then like make that decision for themselves.
That makes sense. And do you think that visitation should be a thing though? Like that when they're not, before they're 18 and get to make that decision, do you think that they should have like visitation rights?
I think if the parents, the adopted parents that they're with, and you know their biological parents come to agreement that that's okay, then yeah.
Okay.
But I know people be, even the parent, like everybody gets really territorial over their who their people are. So I know it goes way deeper than what we can put our opinions on, because that's blood. Like, you're gonna have to come get it back in blood.
That's true. Well, y'all, let us know your thoughts on what you feel and who you think should have a claim in a situation like the Little Fires Everywhere situation. If you've seen it, if you haven't, I feel like Mitch did a good job of summarizing what happened. So let us know.
Yep, and we'll see. Wait, we have an announcement to make.
What?
We're getting married!
And we'll see you guys next time on
The Raw. Make
Bye,
sure to
y'all.
like, comment, and subscribe.
Bye.